In this video, we're going to have a look at how to construct a straight line graph using the intercepts method. So by the end of the video, you're going to be able to construct a straight line graph without using technology. So this is the second method, the first method being the gradient intercept method. Go back and have a look at that video if you haven't seen that method. But this video is going to focus on the X and Y intercepts method. So as you can tell by the name, this method involves finding the y-intercept and the x-intercept, marking those 2 points onto the graph and joining them with a straight line. Now to find the x-intercept, it is going to be when y is equal to 0, and to find the y-intercept, it's going to be when x is equal to 0. So the steps for graphing using the intercepts method, step 1 is going to be calculate the x-intercept. Step 2 is going to be calculate the y-intercept. Remembering x-intercept is when y is equal to 0, and the y-intercept is when x is equal to 0. Then we want to mark the intercepts on the Cartesian plane and draw a straight line. And then the final step is going to be label the line. Always remember to finish off by labeling the line. So let's have a look at some examples. So the first one, I've got an equation of 3x plus 4y is equal to 12, and I want to graph that using the intercepts method. So the first step is to calculate the x-intercept, and that's going to be when y is equal to 0. So what I can do is I can take the equation from the question, and I can substitute in y is equal to 0. So my equation is going to become 3x plus 4 times 0 is equal to 12. So 3x is equal to 12. Divide both sides by 3, x is equal to 4. So my x-intercept is going to be 4 and 0. So now I can do the same process for my y-intercept for step 2, but this time it's going to be x is equal to 0. So my formula becomes 3 times 0 plus 4y is equal to 12. So 4y is equal to 12. Divide both sides by 4. Y is equal to 3. So my coordinates for my y-intercept is going to be 0 and 3. So the next step is going to be mark the intercepts and draw a line. So marking my two intercepts, my x-intercept is going to be 4 and 0. My y-intercept is going to be 0 and 3. And I'm going to draw a straight line to connect those two intercepts. My final step is going to be label the line. So 3x plus 4y is equal to 12. So that's my first example of how I can sketch a graph using the intercepts method. So let's have a look at a second example. This time y is equal to 5x. So starting off, calculate the x-intercept. So when y is equal to 0, so 0 equals 5x. So x is going to equal to 0. So my x-intercept is going to be 0, 0. Step 2, calculate the y-intercept. So when x is equal to 0, so y is equal to 5 times 0. So y is equal to 0 as well. So that gives me the y-intercept coordinates of 0, 0. Now you might notice that both of those have the same coordinates, 0, 0, 0, 0. That will only give me 1 point on my line, and to be able to graph it, I need a minimum of 2 points. So here I need to add in an additional step, and I need to find the values of another set of coordinates using another value for x. So I'm going to use when x is equal to 1, what is y going to equal to? So substituting x equal to 1 into my original y equals 5x. So y is going to equal to 5 multiplied by 1. So y is going to equal to 5. So now I've got a second set of coordinates being 1 and 5. That will allow me to go ahead and complete step 3, which is to mark the intercepts and to draw the line. So 0, 0. And this time I'm not going to mark an intercept, but I'm going to mark 1 and 5. And then join those 2 points with a straight line. Final step is going to be to label the line, so y equals 5x. So that's a second example of how we can complete a graph using the intercepts method. So having a look at my third example, 3y equals 2x plus 1, and going ahead and applying my steps to create my graph. So my first step is going to be calculate the x-intercept. So substitute in y equals 0 into my equation. So 3 times 0 is going to equal to 2x plus 1. So 0 is going to equal to 2x plus 1. So go ahead and solve for x. So removing my plus 1 by subtracting it from both sides. So negative 1 equals 2x. So then it is going to be x is going to equal to negative 1/2. So my x-intercept is going to be negative 1/2 and 0. So going ahead with my second step, so substituting in x is equal to 0 to find my y-intercept. So that's going to equal to 3y is equal to 2 times 0 plus 1. So 3y is going to equal to 1. So y is going to equal to 1/3 because I need to divide both sides by 3. So my y-intercept is going to be 0 and 1/3. So now step 3 is to mark in the intercepts and to draw a line. So negative 1/2 and positive 1/3. Once I have drawn my two intercepts in, I need to connect them with a straight line. And my final step is going to be label that line 3y equals 2x plus 1. So there's some examples of how we can draw a linear graph using the intercepts method.